Today's discussion is a continuation of our previous two videos. Some students have complained about the audio quality of those videos, and please write to me if you also believe that we can improve its quality. I can do something about that. Anyways, for understanding and appreciating the content in the knowledge and information contained in this video, you need to have a look at those previous two videos. The one video was about what is Renaissance, and the other one was about how did this process begin. Today I am going to talk about another aspect or another dimension of the Renaissance movement. We had a discussion about humanism. So these humanists were at play all the time and advocating certain reforms and certain changes and transformations in the society. One such movement was the Reformation movement. I won't be going into greater details of the Reformation movement because our next video is going to cover the English Reformation or the Protestant Reformation, and there we will be talking somehow in greater detail about this movement. For today, what you need to learn is that there was a professor whose name was Martin Luther, and he was actually not really satisfied with the practices and the activities going on in the church in the name of Christian religion. So he conducted his study, his observations about the practices followed by the church or advocated by the church at that time, and then he posted his 95 theses on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg, Germany. And this posting actually happened on October 31st, 1517. And in the history of Europe and English literature, we generally say that this date is considered as the beginning of the Reformation movement. Now, what were these all theses about? These theses were actually meant to expose the moral corruption and the material pursuits of Christian figures or the people who were associated with the religion of Christianity, the Catholic Church. And then we have certain concepts like celibacy, and we will be talking about that in greater detail. For the time being, you can say that when we talk about corruption, it was moral corruption. The people associated with church were not really observing the teachings of Jesus Christ, and they had created or invented certain practices that would encourage people to go beyond and against the established Christian traditions. And as a consequence of these 95 theses, we say that it had a long-lasting impact on the future of the Catholic Church. And then we see that one outcome of this Reformation movement was the creation, you can say, or the establishment or the coming into being of Protestant faith. So we say that because of this Reformation movement, Protestantism was born. So Protestantism is actually the outcome of the excesses and the objections of the people of the Renaissance time toward the less desirable and less acceptable practices, or you can say the unacceptable behavior in terms of morality and the practice of indulgences and all these things. We will be talking about that in detail. So this Protestantism was born. And we also see that as the outcome of the Reformation movement, because we are students of English literature, so we talk in terms of its impact on the English society. And then we see that taking refuge in the 95 Theses of Martin Luther, Henry VIII, the King of England, established an Anglican church. And Anglican church means that this was a church that would be regulated and headed by the King of England. Before that, church was under the direct control of the Pope of Rome, and then he passed an act of supremacy in 1534. And in this way, these years we see that there was a split in the Christian followers, people mainly in England and of course other parts of Europe. They went away from the Catholic Church into Protestantism. So from that period onward, we see that people divided into Catholic Church who followed Rome or who looked at Rome for instructions, religious guidance and instructions, and then we had Protestantism was actually a country-based movement, so they did not follow the Pope. Then we also have this concept of Calvinism and this belief in predestination. And this Calvinism and its impact emerged in the mid half of the 17th century when we see a civil war, and then of course Puritans and other people, and then later on the migration of many Catholic families from England. So this is all a huge story that we will be building upon in our next videos. When you talk about the Reformation movement, we talk about this Henry VIII, and then Queen Mary, and then Queen Elizabeth. So this is another good story that we leave for another video. So actually this Reformation and this Renaissance movement, what it did was that it encouraged and appreciated and supported science and demystified the world, in a sense that you have religion on the one hand and science on the other, and people started moving from religion towards science. And this movement was like forced or reinforced by the failures of Catholic Church on the one hand and the fruitful outcomes of the scientific inquiry at the same time. When we talk about certain important figures in the Renaissance movement, this is another important aspect of the Renaissance. There are, as I told you in my previous videos, there are so many scholarly people, men of letters associated with this movement. So what we can do is that we can hint at some of those important figures. Of course, we can't cover all of them and all of the Europe, but just to give you a taste of that, we talk about this Montaigne and this Erasmus, Castiglione, Thomas More, Machiavelli, and of course William Shakespeare, just to be very fair to the huge contribution that he made to the Elizabethan literature, and like the way he talked about human nature, and that is one good reason of making him a timeless and townless personality. So if you talk about the contribution of all these people, they were in a sense you can say humanists, and they were driven by the ideology of humanist approach and believing in a system of education that would nourish the faculty of analytical reasoning in the people, and then of course enabling them or encouraging them to ask questions about the existence of religion, to ask questions about the practices of religion, to question the superstitions mainly associated with religion. So all these people had in one way or another a contribution to this movement or this important facet of the Renaissance, which we call humanism. And we had a detailed discussion about this movement in our previous video. When you talk about Montaigne, you refer to his materialistic philosophy. And if you look at Castiglione, he is famous for his book, which is in English called The Courtier. And then you have Machiavelli, and his book is that is still used, and it is generally believed that Machiavelli is the founder of modern political philosophy, and his focus is on giving prime importance to the goals that you have set in your life than any other thing. Like, you must be focused, you must be driven toward your goal, and you should at no time forget what your actual goal or aim in life is. So Machiavelli is still widely read and followed by political leaders and statesmen and rulers across the globe. And when you talk about this Erasmus, he was a humanist, and his focus was that you as a Christian follower must imitate Jesus Christ as your moral teacher. So this saying was an address to the people associated with the church of that time, that you people have twisted religion to serve your own personal needs. You are concerned about pleasing people, facilitating people in their worldly affairs without taking good care of the moral values that Jesus Christ had brought into this world. So in a sense, this was not a likable situation for Erasmus. So he said that if you are a true Christian, then Jesus Christ is your moral teacher. And once you declare and once you accept that Jesus Christ is my teacher, then you don't have any right to twist and to tamper with his teachings. And then this Thomas More is, his Utopia is very famous, but when his role was actually religious in England, but politically he was also important, and he served as the Lord Chancellor in the under Henry VIII. And when you talk about his Lord Chancellorship, the important thing in history that we remember and then that we talk about is the refusal of Thomas More to bow in front of Henry VIII against the Catholic Church, and then we see that he was beheaded. So in that sense, he was also a strong supporter of the Catholic faith, and he did not support the concept of splitting away from the Roman Catholic Church. We don't talk about Shakespeare because we have a very good video coming in the next few days, where we will be talking about William Shakespeare in detail. So we finish with this discussion over the personalities associated with the Renaissance, and then we generally have this honor code. If you want to be honored and if you want to be respected and remembered by the society, these Renaissance figures, they inculcated in the mind of the people that if you want to earn respect and honor in society, you have to follow certain code. And when they tried to develop and to define that code, they would say that you need to be proud all the time. By taking pride in yourself, you actually are doing good to yourself, your moral self, your intellectual self, and your psychological self. And this enables you to be a good human being, to be a prosperous, and to be a successful person. If you are not proud of your existence, and if you are not proud of yourself, this will hamper your initiative and your potential capabilities that can make you turn into a wonder on the face of this earth. So in a sense, we say that when we talk about this Renaissance movement, it advocated for observance of a code, and this honor code was, the first thing was that you must be proud of yourself, your energy, and your potentials. And then you need not to be humble in a sense that you stop asking questions, you stop using your analytical faculty, and this then in return would become the opposite of your pride. If you are a proud man, you will have your analysis and observation active all the time. You will be questioning whatever comes in front of you, and if you are not doing this, you are the opposite of that. Then another code and the other mindset advocated by the Renaissance movement was that be rich and not poor. You are rich. You are bestowed, or you are given certain faculties in the shape of your mind, your eyes, the five senses, your body, your physical appearance, that can turn you into a rich person, not only materially, but spiritually, morally, and in any sense of the term. So don't think or underestimate your personality. You have the ability to do many wonders. So what you need to do is that you need to acknowledge the existence or the possession of certain faculties, and based on those faculties you can become a rich man in any sense of the term. And then of course the outcome of this honor code, as I told you, that when you are proud and you are rich, and then you have to question religious views. Now, why do we give that much importance to questioning the religious views and beliefs? The simple reason behind this questioning attitude is actually to question the superstitions. Most of the times, when you talk about religion, you come across certain opinions and values and beliefs that are abstract, or they those which are not really supported by scientific evidence. So instead of believing in them in a blind manner, what the Renaissance men of letters taught to the people of that time was that instead of accepting them, you should question them. You should ask people, you should ask religious clerics, and then form an opinion whether something is acceptable to you or not. And as an outcome of this whole process of enlightenment and the revival of scholarly learning, we know that when it comes to the English society, we have so many good writers who became famous and who started contributing, and we should not ignore the contribution of Queen Elizabeth, because her age is generally identified as the golden age in the history of English literature. She supported and patronized literature and literary performances, and we see that in England we have a first permanent theater, and then we also see that literature flourished in all its forms. If you talk about drama, you have people like Marlowe and Shakespeare. If you talk about prose, you have people like Sir Philip Sidney and Francis Bacon, among the rest. And when you talk about epical poetry, you can't ignore the contribution of Edmund Spenser. And of course, sonnet was one tool that was mastered by William Shakespeare in his life. And before that, we have White and Surrey, and then the university wits. So the whole England started taking interest in literature, and many good people and writers started producing quality stuff and entertaining the people. So it was not all about entertainment, it was also about training the people, guiding the people, and teaching the people in a light and happy manner in pub houses and in theaters and in courts. So this was how we say that Renaissance revival reached England, and it reached its culmination in the age of the reign of Queen Elizabeth. And so this was how this whole story developed, but we do not mean that from here onward something else began, or the Renaissance movement culminated and then it stopped. It did not stop. We still have this Renaissance movement, and its impact in different ways. So this is an ongoing process, and somehow many parts of the world are benefiting and reaping the harvest of the hard work done by the people, or the enlightened people and the men of letters in this period, which is generally categorized as the 14th and 15th and 16th century. And then we see that we have an improved and changed world after the 16th century in the shape of Europe that was going to prove and to spread its impact in other parts of the world. So those students, again I would repeat that those who had missed the first two videos, they should listen to them. And here we come to the end of our Renaissance discussion. If you have any question or query, you can always ask, and you can comment about the quality of the audio, and you also have the right to comment if you feel that there is some way of improving our interaction through the use of these videos. I hope that you will now be in a better position when we will be talking about English Reformation or Protestant Reformation, which is going to be our next video. And we also hope that you are now in a position, and the stage is now set for talking about literary giants like Christopher Marlowe and Shakespeare and many other good writers whom we talk about, and about whom we have so many readings at our side. So let's hope for the best, and thank you very much.